One South Africa's leader, Mmusi Maimane, is expected to unveil the party's mayoral candidates for the nation's capital. Well, this is ahead, of course, of the local government elections. Bosa is set to outline its commitment to restoring stability and laying the foundations for the city. That's what's expected to be spoken about. The party promises to create opportunities and deliver a better quality of life for its residents. Let's go to SABC News reporter Patricia, who's live to us from Freedom Park, I understand. Patricia, good morning to you. Great to see you once again, colleague. Any idea of what we're likely to hear Bosa leader Mmusi Maimane talk about in terms of what he will unveil a little bit later on? I see there are quite a number of political parties that are doing that today, and the lids are quite tight on these pots.
Well, good morning, Criselda, and to our viewers. Very important day if you think about the fact that we are about 10 weeks away from the 2026 local government elections, which we understand that you have over 600 political parties that obviously are competing for their share of the vote, Bosa being one of those political parties. And of course, the capital city is one of the focal points in that election race, as it is, of course, the country's, administrative capital, the seat of government, you may say. So today we expect the Bosa leader and, of course, the rest of the members here at Freedom Park to unveil who exactly they have put their confidence behind as their Tshwane mayoral candidate. And I want to bring in, Mmusi Maimane, the leader of Bosa, just to take us through that without going into too deep into the program that is lying ahead. Just tell us about some of the issues. Let's start there. Capital city. I think everyone is really, putting their focus on the capital city. But as a leader, when you have observed over the months, the years, what are some of the issues that you feel really need attention to prioritize good service delivery for the people of the capital city?
Yeah, undeniably, and good morning to fellow South Africans. The fundamental issue here in Tshwane is the fact that in many ways, historically, Tshwane, from an urban sprawl point of view, is one of the largest cities in the world, which means it's got profound infrastructure deficiencies, resulting in basic things like water supply not being able to be guaranteed for all citizens. We saw some of the challenges that spoke to some of the not only the collection of refuse, the billing mechanisms, the efficiency of the city, but ultimately the political challenge. I think there isn't a party here that is part of this current government that hasn't worn the mayoral chain, which means that you've got a rotation of power that's unstable, incapable of delivering for people, and not being able to invest in such a manner that the people of Tshwane are able to employ, to create work, to create a city, a capital city, not only in name, but able to attract capital for investment so that we can create jobs in Tshwane. So to me, fundamentally, when a city is not well run, not well governed, it delivers the challenges where basic services are not being delivered, crime goes up, and ultimately unemployment is one of the greatest challenges that we face as a country.
Who is your mayoral candidate?
We have an amazing woman. She has served, she's lived here in Tshwane. She's a talented and a competent person. She's been involved in the arts and brings with her a caliber of not only activism in politics, in the arts, that I think is unrivaled. But as part of the program today, we will unveil all the names and celebrate this real tower of a woman that I believe will give the people of Tshwane an incredible alternative for them to look at.
Bosa is a relatively young political party. Of course, you've been in the political space for many years. You're a seasoned politician and leader in South Africa. But this particular candidate, without going ahead of the program and announcing who this person is, what qualities apart from what you have just mentioned, in terms of experience that she's bringing to the fore, because she's ultimately going up against very strong political leaders, females that are also vying for that particular space?
When we started Bosa, we wanted to make it possible for non-political people to be involved in politics. That was our secret. And it's been effective, because the problem of politics sometimes are the politicians. The system becomes, too much such that people think that it's like political connections, etc. When we started Bosa, we said, let the communities nominate who are. And you are correct, we are young and new, but we bring the best talent, we've got vibrancy, and we've got the future of South Africa in terms of all South Africans coming together. With that in mind, what Martha brings is the leadership competence that deals with that particular team. It's also the idea of saying that she herself has seen both the wealth and the poverty of the city. I think sometimes we forget that actually having lived with the depth of pain and poverty sometimes helps you appreciate how you can serve that community best. And so I think she brings that empathetic world and the competence of having now, literally, when we go into council and having run other organizations, one of the work that we do as Bosa is train all our candidates about what it means to be a councillor, what it means to be a mayor, what does the manifesto look like, which I'll talk about in a moment, but also to make sure that we bring about the most competent people going forward.
Now, getting into that space, that hot seat, we have seen, politicians come and they make a lot of promises, and they sort of, give the impression that they will be able to lead. But often when they're in that seat, there are a lot of emerging challenges, very layered, that come from all directions. As her leader, what would be, that fundamental advice that you would give her, lead her with, so that she perhaps rises correctly and represent the people of the capital city with honor and dignity?
Pick the best team. At the end of the day, the reason Tshwane has suffered is because when you look at the executive directors that sit within the space, some of them, have been heavily challenged. When you look at some of the MMCs that form part of the executive, some of them face, even currently as we speak now, face allegations of corruption. Now, when you, as the mayor, are not fighting for the people but are fighting against your team, you are stuck. And you are in a permanent political malaise of the wilderness. The job that we're wanting to bring in Tshwane, and it's not empty promises, I can make it confidently. We will have the best people. We'll have people with no corruption. They are not going to appear in Madlanga. And more importantly, we will have talent, intellectually strong, future-focused people. Once you've got that team around you, you really can achieve much in government. Because, yes, citizens have been waiting for too long. They have to be patient. But at the end of the day, they are unpained by the fact that whilst they are waiting for services, others are running water tankers privately in places like Hammanskraal. Others are corrupt, stealing money. Others are upgrading their homes. This is an insult to the people of this country.
Pretoria also has, one of the largest student cohort in the country, with all the institutions of higher learning that are concentrated here. We also have the biggest diplomatic community globally. What are you going to do to sort of cater into that space, but also tap into that to sort of hone the talent that can benefit the capital city and the country as a collective?
Yeah, undeniably. And I think, one of the greatest places that Bosa is thriving at is at the University of Tux. We've done extraordinarily well there. But it's not just allowing the student community, whether in whatever college or university they come from in Tshwane, it's also been research driven. One of the things that government fails at is that it invents policy independent of thorough research. And so we're really intentional about saying, let's not just have universities that feed students into public office. But let's use the research pieces. Let's think about how do we integrate transport. We've got the Gaut train here. How do we integrate it with the other? How do we make sure that rail, as a competitor, when someone is living in Marabastad, ends up in the central part, they're able to get there cheaply and effectively. So that's about transport mobility and research that goes into that space. But to your point about diplomats, etc., this is the seat of government. And the international community needs to be able to, let me use one primary example, the Rooiwal, or ultimately when you think about the SEZ that has been established here in Tshwane. What an opportunity that is. And we saw how Cherry have begun to utilize that on an international point. Now, part of the diplomatic work that we've got to do is partner with other countries to bring innovative technology so that you are able to invest properly in the city. And that is a massive opportunity that Tshwane is not fully utilizing. And I think those bilateral relations are going to add well to say when we increase the investment capacity, we can create jobs.
Right, thank you so much. That, of course, being Bosa leader Mmusi Maimane, just taking us through his vision for the capital city. This as they're about to announce their Tshwane mayoral candidate ahead of the 2026 local elections. And, of course, as the SABC, we already know who this individual is, but we respect the position of the party and we're waiting for them to make that formal announcement that will happen just after 10 o'clock. We'll know exactly who this individual is, but I must say that she also comes in and in a very highly contested terrain. If you think about other strong females, we are still in Women's Month, celebrating this pivotal month this time of the year. She's coming, up against other strong females such as the Rise Mzansi and Good Party mayoral candidate, that being Sarah Mabotja, and of course the current Tshwane Mayor Dr. Nasipi Moya for Action SA. These are all women and who will be competing for this particular space among their other colleagues from other political parties as well. And Criselda, as you mentioned earlier, the ANC is also announcing their mayoral candidates today. So it will be interesting to see who do they nominate for the capital city. For now, we toss it back to studio.
Very interesting a day in politics. We'll certainly be watching out for all of that. Thank you very much, Patricia. Bosa, of course, are going to be Bosa's going to be announcing its mayoral candidate for the capital city. We do quite have a sense of who they will be announcing in just about, I would say, 30 minutes' time. But we will certainly wait for the party to make that announcement.